Hey guys, Ellie here. Today, I'm at the sanctuary right now. It is a I was gonna say beautiful, but as you can see, it's not your stereotypical beautiful sky today. To some people, it might be beautiful. To Megan loves these overcast, rainy days. It's the perfect vibe to just have a lazy day. Y'all know what I mean? So Megan finds this kind of weather beautiful, but I know not everybody does. A lot of people's idea of beautiful is your typical, bright yellow, blue, sunny, yellow sun, blue, beautiful sky. That's your stereotypical idea of beautiful sometimes, but I can appreciate a majestic scenery in the atmosphere, I suppose. I don't even know what I'm saying, to be honest with you. It looks nice, though. Overcast day once in a while, it's not a bad thing, especially when we've had a lot of dry days and we need the rain. The rain is good for the grass, stay fertile, stay healthy. It's the geese sure as heck love it. You see all those, let me stand up real quick. Y'all see those puddles forming right there? Oh, the geese sure as heck love that. It's free bathtub, free drinking water, free pooping water, all the above. Oh, yeah, they love it. Okay, somebody left a gate open over there. I'm going to go walk that way and close it. I'm not sure how that happened. Let's go close the gate, guys. I feel like I've reached a second wind. Y'all may not know what I mean by that. I know that in running terms, like people who do track and stuff, obviously when you're running for long distances or when you're running for when you're running really fast, you get tired, you start to get fatigued. But they always talk about that if you can just push past that initial terrible fatigue that you get, you'll reach something called your second wind. And basically, it's like you get a adrenaline kick out of nowhere. Just when you feel like your body can't go anymore, you suddenly get a random jolt or surge of energy. And it's just inexplicable where it comes from. All right, so anyways, what was I talking about? Right, my second wind. So this is going to sound silly, but I feel like my hair, that's right, the hair on my head, I feel like it's reached its second wind, you could say. Y'all see right now how, it looks good. It's not frizzy or anything. There's not like little dandruff sticking up. The curls are tight. I feel like it looks really good today. I'm not usually super picky about how my hair looks or anything like that, but it does look good. And so I feel like in the past few weeks, it hasn't looked nearly as good as normal. Usually when I first get my hair cut, it looks good. It's short, you could say professional, I suppose. And then as it gets longer, it's still good, of course. I like the curls. But then at some point, whenever it gets a little bit too long, it almost starts to look like a mop, like look kind of messy, kind of frizzy. It just doesn't look quite as good. And that's usually when I get my hair cut, when it starts getting a little bit too long. I'll show you a picture on the screen of all the different phases of my hair's cycle, you could say. So this is when it is short. It's just, still a little bit curly, but pretty short, professional looking. It looks good. And then this is it a little bit longer when it's not too long, but starting to get there a bit. And now right here is when it's kind of getting a little bit too long for comfort, kind of like a mop, you could say. Doesn't look quite as good. And that's usually the point at which I decide, okay, it's time for a haircut. But I've kind of stalled in getting my haircut a little bit. And so right now it's getting a little bit longer, but it's almost reached a second wind, if you get what I mean. Kind of like with the runners, like if you can just endure past that rough patch, if you can just make it past that point when you're at your worst, then it'll suddenly you'll get a surge or a jolt and it'll get that much easier. And so I feel like I've made it past that period of time where my hair is at its worst. It just looks rough, it's messy, frizzy, dandruff, all that stuff. And I've kind of gotten my jolt or my surge, my second wind. And so now it's getting extra long and it's starting to curl again. And I've done this before. I don't know why I forgot about it. Does that make sense though? Is any of what I'm saying even making sense to y'all? Do any of y'all have an experience like that with your hair or with anything where it starts out okay, but then it gets rough. And then if you can just endure past the rough patch, it'll get better again. I don't know. But Just a silly little observation I made. I figured I would share a video with y'all talking about it. So yeah, Ellie's hair evidently has found its second wind, you could say. Oh man, that's silly. But I feel like I'm talking about all kinds of silly stuff right now. Second wind. There's another crazy thing that just came to my mind. I want y'all to tell me if you've ever had an experience with, I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to explain it the best that I can, and I want you guys to tell me if you've ever had anything kind of similar happen in your life. So it's almost like your brain and your body, they're working together on the same page, but one of them works a little bit faster than the other. I'm gonna give an example. So like basketball. I used to play basketball all the time when I was younger, and I would see these videos of Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry doing these crazy dribble moves, like bouncing the ball between their legs, behind their back and stuff like that. So I would go home and I would practice it, and I would do all the drills that they did. And probably for about a year straight, I practiced all those drills that they did that I saw on YouTube and whatnot. And I got a little bit better over time, but I didn't get significantly better. I was kind of disappointed in that I hadn't gotten as good as I wanted to be in a year of practice. So I kind of ended up getting into other things. I took a little bit of a break from basketball. Just, regular life comes up, and I took a break for about 6 months. And when I came back to start playing basketball again, I expected to be rusty, but what I found instead was that my dribble moves was like off the charts. It was astronomical. I had never dribbled this good in my life. I was doing all kinds of behind the back, between my legs, crazy dribbles and stuff that I never thought I was able to do. And it just blew my mind. But the theory that I came up with was that in that year of practicing, my brain was able to develop muscle memory, and I was able to practice all that stuff, and my brain was learning how to finally do it, but my body physically hadn't caught up to it yet. My body didn't have the flexibility to reach the ball between my legs, or for my arm to go behind my back, as an example. But then in that 6 months of break that I took, my body physically finally caught up to what my brain neurologically had already developed. That's the best way I can explain it. I'll give it another example. When I played Call of Duty, I would practice this thing called quick scoping. I'm not going to go into the details of it because most of you probably don't know what that is. A lot of y'all probably aren't interested in video games, but it's this really challenging thing that you do on video games, on Call of Duty in particular. And I practiced it for a good while. I didn't really get that much better at it. I was kind of let down, and eventually you kind of just get into other things. And so I took a break from Call of Duty for a good year or 2 years. And then when I came back to playing it again, I was like an absolute monster at quick scoping. I was like a legend. And I was thinking to myself, how in the heck did this happen? After taking a year or two break, instead of being rusty, I'm like off the charts, better than I've ever been. And so it's almost like my brain, my hand-eye coordination with the controller got really good at doing the quick scoping thing, but my fingers themselves hadn't caught up and learned how to do it right. And so when I took a break, it's almost like my fingers caught up to my brain. I don't even know if I'm making any sense. I'm talking about ridiculous stuff. I know, guys. Y'all can laugh at me all you want. I'm sorry. I know I'm an absolute buffoon right now. Just talking about second wind and your body lagging behind your brain or whatever. But have any of y'all, can y'all tell me, has anybody had anything even remotely similar to that happen in their lives, where you practice something, you don't really improve a whole lot at it, but then you take a break, and when you come back from the break, you're a monster, you're the best you've ever been at it? Y'all let me know in the comments. That may be something that I need to start doing anyways with football, because this is going to sound horrible. I don't want anybody to worry about me or freak out, but I went to the doctor the other day because my back's been hurting, and I found out that I actually have a tear in my lower lumbar disc. I know that sounds awful. It sounds a lot worse than it is, I promise you. I don't need surgery or anything crazy like that. It's kind of like a wound that every time I play, it gets re-aggravated. The tear kind of starts closing up Whenever I sit or whenever I just do day-to-day stuff, it doesn't hurt. But whenever I do something that causes impact, like running or jumping, it'll start to hurt again. And so the doctor explained to me that basically what's happening is when you're resting, the wound is repairing itself. The tear is starting to seal itself, you could say, sew itself up. But then when I start running and jumping, it starts reopening again. And that's why it starts hurting. So his advice to me was give it a break. Just rest, take it easy from anything too crazy until your back fully heals. Because if you keep re-aggravating it, it'll never heal all the way like you want it to. And you'll be in pain your whole life, which obviously I don't want. So I'm definitely going to take it easy. I do care a lot about my body and my health. I'm going to take it easy. I would appreciate the prayers and the love and support as always, though. I know you guys will be there for me. So don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. It's a lot worse than it seems, like I said. But that might be a blessing in disguise, to be honest with you, because I've been practicing my quarterbacking, my throwing in football for a good year now, and I've gotten significantly better. Don't get it wrong, but I haven't like climbed the charts like I thought I would. I haven't become an absolute throwing legend yet. But maybe a break for a few months will be the exact thing that I need. Maybe my arm can catch up to my brain, for lack of a better term. And then next thing you know, I return to football in a few months and I'm throwing 50, 60-yard missiles. Maybe a little bit of wishful thinking, but that'd be nice. We'll see though. I've talked about a lot of stuff in this video. Almost none of it is important or relevant. Just fun little food for thought. Uh-oh. What's wrong, guys? Oh, cousin Jake over there, I think. Well, guys, with that said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm about to wrap things up. I need to go feed some of that green hay, actually. I'm going to get to that. Y'all be sure to let me know in the comments what kind of stuff you guys want to see. Hope you all have an incredibly blessed day. And as I always say, your boy Ellie out.